So for the last 70 years, North Korea has been one of the world's poorest, most sanctioned and isolated countries. It doesn't really export much, and its economy is essentially isolated from the rest of the globe. Despite decades of sanctions, the North Korean regime still exists. The privileged enjoy fancy Western automobiles, boats, and gadgets, and the country was even able to fund an extremely expensive nuclear weapons program. But how is this possible? How is North Korea's poor economy able to endure complete isolation, fund its military, and even import luxury products that it should not have access to? Well, here comes the biggest crypto attack. So, how did they pull it off? Bybit, like all other cryptocurrency exchanges, has a float of coins that can be sold and swapped in so-called hot wallets. When the hot wallets run out of cryptocurrencies, additional are withdrawn from a massive reserve pot stored offline in a super secure digital wallet that is safe from hackers. However, cybercriminals are aware of this and have targeted a company called SafeWallet, which Bybit utilizes to transfer funds from cold wallets. Everything appeared regular for Bybit as they scheduled the massive transfer of Ethereum currency to the customary location. However, the hackers had discreetly modified the address to which the coins were being transmitted. Everything was verified, and the send button was pressed. It was too late when they discovered that the coins had been delivered to the thieves. What we need to understand here is that when the users sign the transaction, they look at it and assume it is what they believe it is. So the user interface remained the same, and that is obviously a high-level, sophisticated attack vector. But it's not just that. There are various steps required to perform such an attack vector: development, research, and resources. For decades, this group has been heavily involved in the production of counterfeit currency, basically producing false money, with a preference for US dollars, notably $100 bills. According to the United States Secret Service, North Korean $100 bills are the most sophisticated fakes in the world, created by highly skilled individuals using cutting-edge technologies such as Japanese machines, Hong Kong paper, and French ink. And the illicit techniques of how North Koreans get money keep changing. North Korea has been building a sizable army of hackers since the early 1990s, and since Kim Jong-un took power, he has shifted their focus away from spying and toward more monetizable activities. The Lazarus Group, a cybercrime organization with ties to the North Korean government, has been active since at least 2009. This gang has been tied to a number of high-profile cyberattacks worldwide. Their operations are thought to represent a major source of cash for North Korea, particularly in light of international sanctions. The group's activities include a variety of cybercrimes, such as espionage, data theft, and financial fraud. The organization earned international recognition after conducting a large breach of Sony Pictures Networks in 2014, releasing critical data and unreleased films. The attack was apparently a retribution for the film The Interview, which portrays the assassination of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. In 2016, they attempted to steal $1 billion from the Bangladesh bank's account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, successfully moving $81 million before being discovered. They exploited the SWIFT financial messaging system to carry out the theft, showing their thorough mastery of global financial infrastructure. Just 1 year later, in 2017, they launched the WannaCry ransomware attack, a global campaign that infected hundreds of thousands of machines in 150 countries, encrypting data and demanding Bitcoin payments. The attack caused widespread disruptions in hospitals, businesses, and government agencies around the world. Most recently, in 2022, the organization was responsible for stealing $620 million in cryptocurrency from the Ronin network, a blockchain utilized in the popular game Axie Infinity. This highlighted their continuous commitment to the profitable cryptocurrency market. So, in order to make the transfer, Bybit used Safe's multi-signature wallet service. However, it turned out that Safe was not so safe. They revealed that one of their development machines had been compromised. After that, VeriChain's investigators determined that hackers utilized their access to hijack Safe's Amazon Web Services account, which was used to host the Safe website. The North Koreans then introduced malicious JavaScript, which could change transactions in real time. So, while the safe UI displayed the right address to which your money was supposed to be sent, the malicious code amended the smart contract, resulting in the coins ending up in a wallet controlled by Kim's hacking minions. However, the North Koreans were not interested in hacking just anyone, so the code remained inactive, waiting for Bybit's high-value transaction. And after reviewing Safe's website on the Wayback Machine, detectives discovered that the malicious code had been totally removed just 2 minutes after the intrusion. It is unclear whether all of this renders Safe legally accountable for the money stolen. The CEO's final step in making the transfer was to manually sign the transaction with his Ledger hardware wallet, which added to the complexity. Ledgers allow you to see a transaction before confirming it, and they do not lie about the definition, even if your computer's UI is corrupted. However, a few of you pointed out in the comments of my previous video that when signing a smart contract with a ledger, as the CEO did in this case, you don't see the destination address on the ledger screen, but rather a bunch of hex data, which, unless decoded, does not indicate where the coins will end up. So, in the moment, the CEO would not have known where the coins were going. But that is also his fault. Having a stunningly awful setup isn't much of an excuse. It's been many days since the hack, and the CEO has just declared war on North Korea. According to Bybit, around $43 million in stolen cryptocurrency has been recovered, or 3% of the total. It has developed a bounty hunting website, promising prizes to people who could trace and freeze stolen tokens. The FBI issued a statement on Wednesday, circulating a list of blockchain addresses linked to the hackers, and encouraging entities throughout the crypto sphere to block transactions involving them. But how does this event come at a time when things are heating up in Ukraine? The recent intelligence reveals North Korea has deployed thousands of troops to bolster Russia's military effort, marking the first time in history that their soldiers have ever fought in Europe. This surprising escalation has huge effects on the conflict, but not for the reasons you may think. It opens up a whole can of worms on every level, from the tactical to the diplomatic. In videos that were posted by pro-Kremlin military bloggers on Telegram, which ended up leading to the US intelligence agencies confirming the presence of thousands of North Korean soldiers on Russian territory, additional satellite images provided by South Korean intelligence revealed their increased footprint, and several more geolocated videos confirmed their presence at 5 separate bases. So let's assume that these reports are true. Then what did these North Korean troops actually bring to the battlefield besides their state-approved beliefs? There are different early estimations that we've seen. The US government initially estimated that it was only 3,000 soldiers. Then the Pentagon boosted it to 10,000 by October 30th. North Korea has soldiers to spare, correct? They have an estimated 1 million forces, while the better-equipped Storm Corps has roughly 10 brigades, ranging from 80,000 to 200,000, depending on how you define them. This perhaps is true that the hacked money could possibly fund the war in Ukraine, and the regime is incredibly persistent to keep waging such audacious cyberattacks. And one of the reasons that North Korea's regime is strongly sanctioned, limiting its ability to conduct international trade and banking. The Lazarus Group's stolen money is thought to be used to fund nuclear weapons programs, support the country's elite's extravagant lifestyles, and keep government operations running. Cybercrime has become an important aspect of North Korea's economic strategy, filling the holes left by international sanctions. You would expect world leaders to step up. Unfortunately, the geopolitical complications surrounding North Korea hindered direct engagement. North Korea's state-sponsored cyberattacks are in a gray area of international law, making it difficult to hold the regime accountable. Proving state sponsorship of cyber operations is difficult, and even when the Lazarus Group is discovered, governments are unwilling to raise relations with North Korea, preferring to rely on diplomatic approaches to manage the nuclear danger. The concept of a blockchain rollback is highly controversial. In 2016, Ethereum rolled back its blockchain to recover stolen funds from the DAO hack, but such actions undermine the concept of blockchain immutability. While a rollback might recover stolen cash and send a message to hackers, it risks harming Ethereum's reputation, setting a dangerous precedent and upsetting investor confidence. A few years ago, when the Binance exchange was hacked for a considerable quantity of Bitcoin, the CEO proposed rolling back the Bitcoin blockchain to recover the assets. This was quickly shut down, and he fully agreed with the conclusion that followed. But imagine if they followed through on that advice and rolled back Bitcoin's blockchain for the first time in history, due to a minor hack at the time. There is a considerable likelihood that Bitcoin will not be as significant as many institutions, and as well accepted as it is today. The same concerns apply to Ethereum today, primarily because who exactly gets to make that decision? Should we roll back the blockchain for other exchanges if another attack occurs as a result of their stupidity or lack of security? Ultimately, no. We must recognize that a mistake was committed. We have to learn and grow from it. We need to recoup the funds to pay back investors and move on. And the reality is, why should the Ethereum community endanger its image just because one exchange didn't safeguard themselves to the utmost potential that they could have? The sheer scale and speed of this laundering operation shows that crypto security is not keeping pace with attackers. This attack was a stress test for the industry, and it barely passed.